People, what's going on? Welcome to episode 97. Yes, now I said 97. The Dome Podcast, man. Here with my guy, dope lyricist, historian, teacher, pendulum man, academics, man, teaching cats how to MC, teaching cats how to rhyme, teaching cats the art of these 16 bars. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute. My G, Mickey, what's going on, Playboy?
Smicky, what up, brother?
Look, man, it's been too long, man. A lot of things been going on in the culture since the last time, man, you had a conversation on air.
Yeah, last time we spoke, we basically just kind of talked about my origins and the things that I had done up to that point, getting your community a little bit familiar with me if they hadn't been familiar. So now we could kind of just have our conversations about, what's going on in the space of hip hop and, my thoughts on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna say this, and I ain't gonna be long-winded with this because you've spoken on other platforms before. But I don't know why you was doing some of these dudes so dirty out here, man, with these rhymes, man. Like I watch these videos, I listen to these lyrics and these bars. I'm like, yeah, I know Mickey a battle cat also at heart, and why is he doing the homie true and verb like that, man? Like it's some ether dropping, some takeover dropping, some no Vaseline dropping. It was really. You really did some cats real dirty. Like I said, I ain't gonna go too much in detail, but sometimes you have to remind cats that their pen is lethal because they ask for it.
This is a fact. I had to, I like to keep the pen in the holster. I don't like to take the pen out the holster a lot. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you guys see me making music without, dissing, that's just kind of me. That's me taking the pen out to kind of like, that's me working by myself. And that's me like at the gun range. That's me at the gun range when I'm doing my own music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, keep it sharp.
Right. But when they, that brother, he paid True Foe to diss me. And I took offense to that. And, this is hip hop, man. And I'm from the Bronx. And there's a representation that I have to uphold, you know what I'm saying, being from the birthplace of this. And it wasn't just the quantity of it, it was the quality of it and the speed of it that I think I needed to kind of show people that were watching what was going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when you writing like that, that turnaround time is key. Because a lot of cats can't turn around and release tracks at that kind of frequency like that. And that shows again the art of this craft. Like, we ain't trying to wait next week, bro. If you got, what about tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Like, It was really going down. And it really shocked me, man, because of course I remember, and I told you this last time we spoke, the way you did one of my homies. I ain't gonna talk about Rafe, man, but the way you did, man, I'm not gonna go there, but I'm just saying, I know you can do that to people, but you kind of felt like you was having a good time though, because you did a lot of exposing. And but you know what? So, but let me ask you this, man. So, with Pendulum right now, I think you had posted recently. You have some more updates right now, man, with the school, man, with everything. I want to get that out the way first, man, and let you really, if there's any updates, man, like please enlighten me, man, and enlighten the listeners.
Yeah. So for the first time, we're actually approaching our 4-year anniversary of our doors being open, and you being a businessman yourself, you know how difficult it is for, business to remain open past 2 years.
Facts.
And we are approaching our 4th year anniversary this Sunday. And, in celebration of that, for the very, very first time, we are opening our doors to people who don't rap at all to join Pendulum Inc. Through our Patreon. So, what we're looking to do is, we're finally going to let people see all of our footage over the past 4 years. Like we have so much footage and so much knowledge on the art of emceeing, the business of the music industry, how to create content, all of the celebrities we've had.
Oh yeah,
we've had over about 85, celebrity MCs. And we're getting ready to allow people to join and see what we've been doing so they can get an understanding of what Pendulum Inc. actually is. I think this is going to be the turning point for us, because I kept it low key for so long, Tony, mainly because I didn't really want somebody to come in and copy and mimic and then try to, scam people out of it for a quick buck. We actually care about the craft and the culture. So, we safeguarded it. Now that we're somewhat of a household name, we're ready to kind of open up the door so people can see what we got going on.
I'm so excited about it, man, because like I told you about a year ago, man, hip hop needs this. You know what I'm saying? Because you have something unique going, and obviously with all the amazing MCs and artists that has come on to your, you know what I'm saying, to the study, you know what I'm saying, to come on and educate the listeners, to educate the students and show support for you. It says a lot because it's a who's who, you know what I'm saying, of bar spitters who came on to your platform and to your school. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, we're gonna definitely put all them links down there, man, because for anyone sleeping on this, man, this is very important for the culture. A lot of people say they love hip hop and like, I want to get involved, I want to be an MC, I want to be an artist. But just like back in the day with Motown and these places, they had like the Chitlin Circuit, they had like boot camp, you know what I'm saying? They had like a whole learning center to become better at your craft, man. And what Mickey and them was doing, man, if you want to be a better MC, please listen to this, man. Please follow these platforms, man, because you will get the education you need, man. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to make sure I put that out there again, Mickey. And also, I think I saying that you got some, I know you did your album last year, dope album and everything like that. Do you have some more tour dates coming up over the next couple of months as well?
Yeah, so obviously I just put out the True Faux Disses. So that's an EP. It's called True Crime. That came out.
It is crime too.
True Crime. The A-Verb Disses will be out March 14th. That's called The Plague. My next album is coming out in March. Actually, excuse me, April. And that's called Delta Slim.
Sweet.
So be on the lookout for that. As far as tour dates or shows, I got a show coming up in Atlanta in April at some point. I think it's April 19th down here in Atlanta. I'll be back in Virginia Beach in June, headlining. After me, having this show with Styles P and Beanie Siegel, they want me to come and headline an event. I have City Winery in Philly in May coming up. I'll be at Rice University in Houston next week. Should be really, really fun. Obviously, I got a 2-city tour in Australia, me and John Connor at the beginning of July. So from July 1st to about July 6th. And then obviously the big one, I announced it a little bit earlier last week on Twitter, but I'll be back to teach at NYU this fall, teaching hip hop again. So very, very excited about that.
Man, that's sweet, bro. So look, getting into some of the topics today, man, being Black History Month, one thing I did a few weeks ago was I did a video about 12 albums that represent conscious hip hop and represent what I feel like Black history. And I'm gonna go all into that, but I want to ask you a few questions. What I talked about in detail, and please, guys, go check that episode out. I talked about, Dead Prayers, Let's Get Free, PE Takes the Nation a Million, Brand Nubian One for All, X-Clan to the East, Black was all of this stuff like that. So I went in detail about why these 12 albums are important to hip-hop culture and important to Black culture. So I want to ask you, because I want to talk about conscious hip-hop and the misconception of conscious hip-hop. So in your opinion, because I know a lot of times, recently, this whole substance thing has been getting a lot of traction, but I want to ask you, what's your definition of conscious hip-hop and what kind of artist, for example, would be something in that vein to you?
I think that the industry, the music industry, had to figure out a way to brand that sound of music once different genres began to pop out, right? Like hip hop was always kind of like this self-aware genre. And I think that once gangster rap kind of started to permeate a little bit more, because it once again to permeate a little bit more, it started to we kind of had a separation, because it was like this this self-aware, fun vibe, dancing, but there was a message in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we would be partying, but there was a message in it. And you got to think back to, like, Fight the Power. It's a very powerful record, but people were dancing to it in the 90s.
Absolutely.
And for a very long time, that was like the #1 record for hip hop. Like this is probably the best song that
that's crazy to think about.
You know what I'm saying? And that it wasn't conscious. It was just this is hip hop, right? And then it began to kind of shift and change. So when we think about what is conscious hip hop, because of the separation of genres, which probably happened sometime around 92, 93, like you got to look at an artist like Common, right? Like at one point, like he's just called a conscious MC, right? Ice Cube was kind of teetering that because he was gangster, but he was speaking from a very intelligent standpoint.
He was.
You know what I'm saying? But we couldn't, like, he was still gangster. Like, it was like
you couldn't put him in a box.
You couldn't put him in that box. But somebody like Common, somebody like Mos Def, somebody like anything from the native tongues after a while started to become conscious. And you could kind of put Kendrick in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's kind of, you can't box him anymore because he's making dance music, but saying something with the dance music. But make no mistake, that brother knows what he's doing. So he is self-aware of not only his message, but how it is supposed to reverberate throughout the culture. And I think that, to me, is what conscious is currently in this state of form. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny, and I'm probably about 7 years older than you, but I remember being a youngster, man, in the early 80s. And of course, when Kool Moe Dee and everybody had a Treacherous 3 and the party joints and they rocking the party, Busy Bee and all that. But then, of course, when Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel did The Message, it changed everything because it gave you the real visual of inner city life in New York or in the inner city in general. So when Mel said a child is born with no state of mind, hip hop was never the same again after that. You know what I'm saying? Because then you would have Ice-T doing 6 in the morning. It might be gangster, but it was gangster conscious. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, Schoolie D, PSK, gangster, but he's still giving you awareness about Parkside Killers. Like, yo, it's real here, but let me talk about my community. So I think some people think that sometimes conscious is just on some Public Enemy type flavor, but it's also political. You know what I'm saying? But also, Mickey, like I was thinking, it's funny you said Native's Tongues, right? Because the Jungle Brothers, for example, to me was that conscious group out of native tongues, because when you think of Tribe Called Quest, because of the way they dressed and because maybe the song Bonita and stuff like that, you thought they was conscious. But Phife Dawg was far from a conscious MC. And because Phife was spitting shit on his songs, and then he would say, bust a nut inside your eye to see where I'm coming from. And he would say, bust on, and you got Siemens furniture. You know what I'm saying? That he never rapped conscious. If you go back and listen to Tribe Called Quest, and this goes back to the misconception of some conscious hip hop. If you go back and listen to Tribe Called Quest, you have, Zulu Nation, of course, Q-Tip spit that. But on the flip side, the yin and the yang, Phife really wasn't that conscious. You know what I'm saying? That's why I thought it was always funny, because nobody ever really talked about that. And I had a conversation with a friend on the phone the other night about that. I said, yo, Tribe Called Quest really wasn't. There was half and half. Q-Tip kind of conscious, Phife kind of street.
Right. I agree with that. I think a lot of it was, Tip was the conscious one. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the conscious one, and being that he was the leader and the face, it kind of branded a tribe to be in that space along with their vibe. But we all knew that Phife was the MC that was trying to go the distance with any and everybody that
He really was. An Outkast the same way, because they was influenced by Tribe, and Andre was conscious. Even if you listen to like Life at the Party, that Kanye song, he's very conscious. Yes. Big Boy on the real. If you go listen to the Outkast albums and go listen to Y'all Scared on Equipment Eye, Big Boy talking about toting that thing on him. So Big Boy actually wasn't conscious at all, but people thought but that Outkast was some poetic group because of some of their big singles, but you didn't listen to their album cuts. You know what I'm saying? Outkast, they really were spitting a lot of Atlanta and a lot of down south street joints, especially Big Boy, but it was that notion of we're conscious. So I think that the word has kind of got convoluted some because people look at appearances sometimes or people's lead singles and assume, and I'm not saying Outkast is not conscious and Tribe is not conscious, but there are a lot of other groups and MCs who that was their focus. Public Enemy, and shout out, you know what I'm saying? Check this. This is the joint right here. Chuck D sent me this recently in that magazine. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Chuck, man, sending me that Rap Central Station. And he talking about a bunch of joints that we saying in this magazine this month. But that was their focus. You know what I'm saying? But now people are yearning for more conscious hip hop. But I guess, Mickey, are we lacking the conscious hip hop right now?
I think in the mainstream space, potentially. But I think in terms of, you know, hip hop in general, no, I don't think. I think you can get any style of hip hop you need in this particular era. But I think in the mainstream space, if you're someone who just, you know, gets in your car and turns on the radio, because there are people that are still like that still. There's a very big lack of conscious hip hop for those people who do that and don't have the aux. And you know, I was pleasantly surprised. I interviewed a lot of people, you know, through North Carolina when I had to drive to Virginia, and when I got to Virginia, people still turn on their radios to listen to music, and it will surprise you that, you know, they don't know a lot of artists because they're still being led by the radio. So I think that for me, there is a huge gap in the space of conscious hip hop in the so I want to like to say self-aware hip hop in the mainstream space, and I think that's purposeful.
Yeah, you know, I think that for you had said something about Kendrick a few minutes ago. When you think about a mainstream artist who come from the freestyling era when he was K Dot and all that stuff to make an album like To Pimp a Butterfly, and I said this before on Twitter and other places that to me, To Pimp a Butterfly was one of the last major conscious hip hop albums that, you know what I'm saying, that a mainstream artist would do. And you think about the songs on that album, when you think, you know, Black of the Berry, All Right, that's an anthem, yo. You go back and look at the video. You got the joint Institutionalized, Mama, How Much a Dollar Costs, Complexion with Rhapsody, all of this stuff like that. A lot of people wouldn't have taken that opportunity to make an album like that at the height of their career because it's risky sometimes because you might not get the awards you might want. You're not going to get certain magazines and reviewers sometimes going to feel a certain way because of the content. It's not going to be so-called safe. You know what I mean? And Kendrick, he pushed those boundaries, and I appreciated that. And I wish we get more artists that, you know, say step out, you know what I'm saying, and do something like To Pimp a Butterfly, because that was a monumental moment to me in hip hop, and it reminded me of It Takes a Nation of Millions and you know, Fear of a Black Planet and some of those early albums, man. So I'm hoping that. But when you first heard that album, for example, did you think that was kind of risky when you heard To Pimp a Butterfly?
Nah, I remember hearing that album. I was driving from New York to Connecticut, and I remember when it first came out. I'll never forget. I was blown away. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. I think I started driving at like 11:30, and I ain't stopped till like 1:30 because it's a 2-hour drive from New York to Connecticut, depending on where you're going. And it came out while I was literally driving. I could not believe what I was listening to, and I think that a lot of people who aren't, you know, in that mind frame, they couldn't understand what was happening. You know what I'm saying? In terms of
Absolutely.
you know, what hip hop is supposed to sound like. That was like kind of like, I don't want to say genre bending, but it was a space where he created a sound for that particular project with the particular themes that he was talking about. And I think that for me as an artist, I'm still an artist, but as an artist at that time, hearing that, I was ultra inspired by what he was able to put together. It was sonically unbelievable, and then
unbelievable and brave,
super brave, because again, he didn't have the typical single, like, you know, his first single. I remember when they was promoting this project, the first single was right?
Yep.
I Love Myself. Like that was the first single, and it really didn't do too well.
Nah, it kind of fell on the radar a little bit.
It fell under the radar, and everybody kept bigging up the King Kunta record. Like they was like, "Yo, he got this record with Pharrell called King Kunta." So when I heard that, I was like, "Okay, this is it's still not what is gonna grab the masses." And then All Right came out, and All Right is just like I was like, "This sounds like some shit that should have that missed the Do the Right Thing soundtrack."
Oh my God.
That's what when I heard All Right, I said this should be on the Do the Right Thing soundtrack.
Wasn't that an anthem, bro?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Black fist in the air. And it's funny you say Do the Right Thing soundtrack because and anyone watching this, they know they can pull the tweets up and do the knowledge. I said To Pimp a Butterfly was this generation's It Takes a Nation of Me. I really felt like that. You know, when I heard it, I was like, hip hop ain't ready for that yet. Now I'll never forget, Knife called me because he was like, "Yo, man, we made the album." I'm like, "Word?" He's like, "Yeah, Rhapsody's gonna be on Complexion." I was like, "Say word." He's like, "Listen, when you hear this album, you're gonna be blown away, bro." Because he's a historian also. He hit me up. I said, "Cool." So when I heard it, like you, I always do the car test. I had to commute to my office. I listened to a whole album going to my office. I didn't say anything about it. I listened to the whole album coming back. And I was like, okay, so everybody's not going to be ready for this. Some people are going to say it's mid. Some people are going to say it's this, that, and the third. But in a few years from now, they're going to catch up. And all the reviews basically gave this album a 10 out of 10. I mean, everybody.
Right.
You and I, people like us, we saw it, the vision. A lot of people did. And now I'm getting people contacting me years later like, T, man, I see what you're saying now, bro. I was one of those people like, yo, Kendrick, I think kind of fell off. I didn't get it. I said, bro, we're talking about brilliance.
Yes.
How much $1 costs, bro. The brilliance of this album, man. I want to hear more MCs, man, like step outside of their comfort zone and say, you know what? This ain't about streaming or popularity. Let me really give, if you have it in you, because I always felt like Kendrick had it in him, because when I heard Section 8 and heard Cushion Corinthians and High Power and the Reagan era, I said, this is something different.
Yeah. No, this is definitely, it was definitely something different. You guys got to remember, I think, you know, we have to frame it that way. And what Tony is saying, we're talking about a guy that he had Swimming Pools as his first single on his major debut album.
Right.
He had Drake on his second single.
Yep.
With a Janet Jackson sample. So like there were high expectations. So to pivot and do this type of album was ultra risky. And it was so risky. Check this out. It was so risky that he had to have a plan B already in the tuck. You know what I'm saying? So he came back and spun with Damn because that's what people wanted. But this to me was who Kendrick was and is. Period. Point blank. Period.
Yeah, and that's fun. It's kind of like when you this diverse MC or diverse artist, your creativity, and you know this as a writer, sometimes you're in conflict with yourself because you're so creative. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can give a little bit to everybody, but at some point I got to be selfish and say, if this is who I am, let me release this song or project, and however it's received is going to be received. Now, they received it to Pimp, for example, but Damn was safe. You know what I'm saying? In terms of that's him rhyming. Not saying there's not no purpose in it, because he definitely had purpose in it. When you think about some of the songs on there, that song Feel is just something amazing to me. The emotion behind it, of course, the other songs on that, Lust and all that, and even his storytelling in Duckworth. Shout out to North Carolina again for Duckworth. Obviously, you know what I'm saying. He still showed that storytelling gift, but he still pushed the envelope a little bit, but it's still a little more safe. But man, like we just really need more people to do that, man. And do you feel like, man, like outside of the mainstream, because we have social media now? And I was telling someone earlier today, what's our excuse now for not propping up the right music, the right messages, and things of that nature? Because, yeah, some people do listen to the radio, but, man, there's nothing more powerful really than these big platforms on social media, whether it's YouTube and Twitter and IG. What's stopping conscious music from taking over again?
So I think that um, I don't want to make this about Kendrick, but we have to go back to Kendrick.
Mm.
When you think about conscious MCs,
Mm-hmm.
they purposely go into the studio and make protesting music. And those songs never play at the protests. Whereas Kendrick made All Right. I don't think he was thinking that this was going to be a protesting anthem, and it became that. And a lot of times it's
Mm.
because we are descendants of the African drum. It is in literally our genetic makeup. We are meant
Facts.
we are meant to dance, we are meant to move, we are meant to have rhythm. Yes, we're cerebral, but we're not a monolith that everybody is cerebral. The one thing that we are, even people that don't got rhythm, that are black, there is still some inkling of it. And we're moved by that. We're moved by that drum. And in order for the consciousness to seep into uh the public's perception, it gotta be
Mm-hmm.
something that people can move and dance to. Like it's hard to argue that, right? Because we have examples of that. We have
Yeah.
All Right. We have Fight the Power. You know what I'm saying? Like even some of Common's records where he's like this. It's groovy music. Anything on B is conscious. You know what I'm saying? Like Go. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he's
Oh,
it's talking about approaching a woman. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like I think that's being self-aware. And a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, even Old Ye, when you listen to Old Ye, that is
Yeah.
super conscious, and he was making music
Absolutely.
that was palatable for the mainstream audience to also dance to. So they're dancing first and thinking second, but by the time they realize what they're saying is too late. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of music, and I think that's what's missing from the conscious space in hip hop on the internets right now. Like right now, TikTok is a big thing. I'm on there, but I'm not gonna be out there doing dances. But I guarantee if I had a song with a beat that people could dance to, and I'm saying, read a book or whatever, and then like, they do like this,
I get it. Yeah.
subconsciously they're gonna start doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what too, with the whole consciousness thing, black people just at the core of our soul, we're spiritual. And
Yes.
I ain't talking about religious right now. I'm just talking about we're a spiritual people. Shout out to LT, man. He's a Christian MC, dope MC. And we did an episode not too long ago, and we were both talking about at the end of the day, everyone black, for example, I know some people don't want to hear this, from the South. Our roots are from the South. We are Southern at its peak. You know what I'm saying? Like from slavery down to Reconstruction to us migrating to the West, to the North, and all that. Your core is here. We're spiritual gospel down here, and it manifested into jazz and to rock and country and hip hop. These are facts. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I'm also sometimes kind of surprised that the spirituality that you probably seen in a Tupac and DMX and some other people is not in more MCs, because at our core, we are spiritual people from the South. That's the facts. You know what I mean? So what's your take on kind of, I guess, the consciousness with the spirituality in the hip hop? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I think sometimes it's shunned upon because it's a Christian rap, or they talking about God too much. When the church was the cornerstone of the black community for generations.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when gangster rap came about, like I'm not blaming gangster rap,
I know what you mean.
but the music industry had to create genres to define in order to market it to certain demographics. So it kind of put Christian quote unquote rap into a different mindset in the consumer's brain. So they're thinking that all Christian rap has to sound like gospel music. And
Right.
as much as gospel music was a part of our lifestyle, when we would go on Sunday, a lot of times the kids didn't want to go to church like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they were forced to go to church.
Facts.
And even if you didn't go to church, you know, you're on Sundays, your mother was playing gospel music. You know what I'm saying? She was playing that Walter Hawkins, that John P. Key. She was playing that on Sundays if she wasn't in church. So those Sundays were the days when we got it. And even on those days, we didn't want to hear it. We wanted to do our own thing. So I think that when you push that, when gospel rap was pushed into the space, a lot of people were like, I don't want to hear this, right? Because it was a specific sound to it. But now I've been doing my Kelowna Cap series, and I've been having some gospel songs come in, but people don't even know they're gospel songs. It's not force feeding you their beliefs. It's more about the person and their struggles and how they connect with their spirituality and God from that perspective. And I think that is the way
that's
to
consciousness.
Yes.
So consciousness comes in so many different forms. Because just now you said something about gangster rap, and I think about, you know, when NWA came out, when they have F the Police, that's a conscious record. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of Americans, you look at like systemic racism and just the 80s drug laws that definitely weren't fair, crack versus cocaine, etc. We saw that, especially at my age. I saw people in my own family and people I grew up with, stuff like that, on crack, bro. You know what I'm saying? So when they did F the Police and we getting pulled over and you giving us 10 years for this, and you giving this other cat who don't look like me a year or some probation, or we getting our ass kicked by the police, it's F the Police. So that was a conscious song for the black community in a weird kind of way, because at the same time you might have had Can't Trust It for Public Enemy. If the Police was relevant to the black community as well, and it was even like Express Yourself on Straight Outta Compton. These are conscious songs in a kind of gangster fashion.
Yep, I agree.
And then when Q breaks off, and it's like he's gangster, but he's political. I mean, America's Most Wanted. That's the name of the album. Listen to the songs on it. Then the death certificate got Uncle Sam in the morgue. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's conscious hip hop as well. So that's the funny thing is certain people that look a certain way, you don't think it's conscious, but Ice Cube is actually a conscious MC. You know what I'm saying? But then you will look at someone like, let's say, Black Thought. You think of the Roots, and you think of, the Roots are the kids of native tongues and all the stuff like that. But listen to Black Thought talk. Black Thought family was murdered when he was growing up. Black Thought on one of those string joints got a song called How to Hold a Chopper. He's teaching his son how to hold a chopper. Listen to what he's saying in that song. Now, he talking about some American history in it, but also saying, I'm going to teach my son how to hold this chopper. You know what I'm saying? So Black Thought, even though you think of the Roots and they on Jimmy Kimmel, you think about someone like Do You Want More and some of them old albums, but nah, Thought was spitting some street shit. You know what I'm saying? But you think the Roots is some poetry lounge, and it's really not. That's that misconception again.
I agree. And I think a lot of times, just the fact that he's teaching these sons these things, that's what they're doing in the white community.
Facts.
They put them kids in them, they get them kids them guns as young as
in the
12,
woods.
13 in the woods. Yep. So we need to do the same thing. I have no pushback for big bro Black Thought.
I just think it's always so funny real quick as I go for a little quick tangent about this misconception of conscious hip hop, because I was in the conversation with somebody the other day about it. I think about like when you think of Slum Village and Jay Dilla, but Jay Dilla was always talking about strip clubs and getting money. You know what I'm saying? But you think about his production, you think about, you know, that it's not like that. Or you think about Little Brother, right here in North Carolina, and they conscious, they the little brothers of Tribe and Daylight. No, listen to Fonte rap. You know what I'm saying? Fonte wasn't a conscious MC, and Pooh wasn't either. You know what I'm saying? So that I always thought that stuff was kind of funny, man. Like De La Soul was spitters, but they was always taking jabs at people like Stakes is High is not a conscious album like that. They spitting on there. And also, if you know De La Soul, back in the early 90s stuff, they really wasn't no suckers.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But people look at how they looked at Daisy Age and all this stuff and thought De La Soul wasn't soft, dog. Maceo and Plug 2, rest in peace, them, they really work. You know what I'm saying? I've seen them catch at events back in the day. Like, so it's just kind of funny when you think about how people look. And it's a perception that, okay, this guy look gangster, so he gangster, but you ain't listening to him rhyming. DMX is very conscious. But when you look at him, the struggle he had made you think something different. Same with Pac, same with a bunch of people. Then you look at some other cats you think is some real conscious guy. Common even spit street shit from Chicago on the low. All his albums, he talking about Chicago in the streets, but it's in a poetic way. He had a smooth flow. He got that look and everything. But if you really dig into Common's music, it's not just some poetry rap. He's spitting Chicago rhymes.
That's a fact.
Yeah, man. So it's just one of them things, man. But I want to pivot on something real quick, bro. And this is way off from what we was talking about. And this is something I didn't know, Mickey. So educate me on this. Doing battle rap, I guess I was born yesterday. I didn't know that people were having ghostwriters for battles. I mean, This is what I've been hearing lately, and I swear, and I'll get back on what I was talking about a few minutes ago, but it crossed my mind just now. I really didn't know that was a thing. Like when you battle rap, and I remember the old. I'm not a battle rap aficionado, but I damn sure for 20 years watched Smack and all them joints. I watched all them joints. When I'm hearing these two cats in front of each other rhyming, I'm not thinking that one of these cats or both of these cats, some of these niggas in the audience or whatever, they might have wrote some of them rhymes. I didn't know that, bro.
Yeah. So I think we have to properly define that, right? Okay. So like over the past 14 years, I've heard fans and rappers say, yo, some of my lines have made it to some of the big battle events. Or, I said some of your favorite lines. Like, now that's like a fan giving a line here or there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like, to me, I don't consider that ghostwriting. I consider that like, I don't even want to say that's co-writing. I just think that's like, yo, somebody gave you a concept or an idea. You took that and you used it for your benefit. That happens in the studio sometimes. So,
absolutely.
Things happen. I think the ghostwriting issue is when you pay somebody for their ideas and you pay somebody.
Okay.
And that's what I uncovered with the person that I was going at. He paid a friend of mine to write him some ideas and some concepts.
And you had some receipts too, didn't you?
I had the receipts. For me, that's a completely different scenario because mainly as an MC, a proud MC for 19 years, right? Since 1998, when I first went in the studio, I have never, so that's really 28 years. I'm approaching 30 in the next 2 years. I have never called somebody up and said, can you give me some ideas and I'll pay you for it? In 28 years, that has never happened with me. And I think there has to be some sort of, we have to have a board or this person got to get punished for this. Like, cause what are we doing here? Like people told me that battle rap is the purest form of hip hop. That's what I was told. That's what they told me.
Right.
You want to get the purest form. You want to get it as raw and authentic as you can. You go to battle rap. Well, then why is people ghostwriting for people? Because from what I understand and what I was told, that the battle rappers are the best rappers on the planet.
That's what I heard.
Because they keep it so authentic. So, but why are people taking bars from people, and why are people paying for bars? It sounds to me like it's the music industry now. And now, to me, it sounds like underground hip hop is now the most authentic space because a lot of these guys are doing this stuff by themselves in their little studio setups to create their music,
right?
Without a lot of outside influence. That's the most authentic space now. After I uncover what I uncovered, because now they all starting to say who write for who. Now after I put that out, I done turned this thing on his head. Now everybody's coming out saying that they got writers and this and that. I'm like, well, shit. I'm the only one with the proof though, and I'm the only one brave enough to show that proof.
You did. So let me ask you this. So what you're saying is, let's say two battle rappers is in the studio just vibing, and one cat is just writing his joints for this battle, and dude like, hey, but what about that little word right there, a word or two here or there? They're just kind of talking and vibing. That's cool. But if the cat be like, yo, write this line for me, and I'm gonna give you some funds for that, then that's the ghostwriting.
That's the ghostwriting, yes.
Yeah, because you think about like a lot of artists in the studio with their homies and stuff like that. I even remember Nas saying before, like, yo, man, Jungle gave me an idea for that hook. You know what I'm saying? Like this, no doubt that's his brother, but I'm just saying, like, or so and so, like, yo, what about that line right there? If you said that right there, okay, cool. I'm gonna incorporate that into this verse. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's just vibing in the studio. Cats just talking. You've been in the studio with mad cats before. Somebody might be like, that word right there go real dope with that, my nigga. Cool. To me, that ain't ghostwriting.
That's not ghostwriting.
Okay, we on the same page. I was curious about that because I'm like, well, cats assist each other, just vibing in the cats be in the studio for 10 hours. You just talking to your homies, you drinking, you chilling, you writing. Your man might write a little something right there, but like, man, I give you that joint right there, man. That little 4-5 words right there, bro. You know what I'm saying? We just talking, we just vibing.
This guy paid somebody, man.
Man, but once you pay though,
that's it.
It changes everything, though.
It changes everything. So, you know, it's a shame, but you know, that's the game of ghostwriting. You know what I'm saying?
So when you find out somebody did that in a particular battle and they actually win, that victory don't feel the same then.
It's like steroids.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like PEDs. we got to put you in front of the court of opinion, brother.
Oh.
We got to strip you of everything. Everything is in question now.
Okay.
If you did it once, you probably did it twice.
Damn, dog. So that pretty much taints your whole career then.
Taints the entire career. And that's why I told these people, leave me alone. I beg these people to leave me alone.
You was a little out of pocket, man.
Hey, Tony, I asked them nicely. I went publicly.
I saw you ask.
I went publicly and said, please, I don't want to do this. I went privately.
I saw you public.
I called people around and I said, tell this brother, don't do this. They still went ahead and did it. I had to do what I had to do.
You probably didn't even see. I remember one of them, George. I tweeted you. I said, hey, man, cut it out, man. I was like, what is Mickey doing, man? Cut it out, man. Stop bullying these dudes, man. I like my man is bullying these dudes.
I was bullied first, you know. Sometimes, you know, the interesting thing, Tony, because obviously you don't know the full story, and I'm not going to dive too deep into it. But this brother was doing spaces, you know, the Twitter spaces.
Yeah.
He was doing a space on me every day since January 2nd.
What?
For an hour. Just talking about me.
That's nuts.
And I let it rock. I let it slide. I didn't really have nothing crazy to say. I just was like, okay, until he paid that man. Once he paid that man, then now you're venturing into hip hop. You could talk about me all you want. That's cool because you was bullying me to your support system and anybody who were here. Once I start rapping though, now I'm bullying. So imagine 35 plus hours compared to 28 minutes. So Tony is seeing me, you know, rap every day, and you're like, yo, Mickey's bullying him. But this brother was talking about me for a month and a half.
Yeah, I didn't see that, bro. So now it makes sense.
See? So now it makes sense. So I was the one that was bullied, and all I did was rap. And then I went into the spaces one time and one time only. I started a space and ended it. And in that space, that's when I said that he had ghostwriters. And once I said that, reverberated through the entire culture. So it
became a big topic.
Yeah, so
it became a big topic on social media. But you said one thing that I always appreciate. You said he did spaces, he was talking. You started rapping. I'm always big on that. Same way I said just recently. I know you talked to Saha when Saha made his comment and stuff like that. All I said above his tweet was, I hear my G, get in the booth. Because if you nice, and I know certain cats are nice, and I know he's nice, and this ain't no diss. Hey, cool, you got your thoughts on something, but my thing is always, man, this is hip hop. Let's hear these bars, bro.
I agree.
You don't like what's out right now? Let me hear these bars. You don't like the album out right now? Drop your album. You don't like this mixtape out right now? Drop your mixtape. You don't like that song right now? Let me hear your song. That's anybody. I don't care who it is. Because all that talking and shit. No, man. You an MC and move the crowd. Get in the booth.
Everything you're saying is literal fact. You know, I have to, as an MC, I have to be careful with how I review some of my peers and those above me, because I don't want to come across, if I don't like something, that I'm a hater.
Right.
because then I'm gonna have to show and prove. So I do my very best to be as unbiased as possible and be as honest as possible without coming across as I'm trying to
Yeah.
be like this ultimate critic. And it's a dangerous line to step on, but I do my very best to not offend
You know,
anybody.
yeah, in your space, man, as an MC, as a known MC, like anytime you guys are asked about, hey man, what you think about the new so-and-so album? It's kind of like, not that you got to be political or anything like that, but you also, like you said, you want to be fair in your assessment. But anytime you do, and see, everybody think making a critique is a diss. A
Right.
critique is not a diss.
It's not a diss.
You can say, yo, I like this joint. Would have liked it better if it had X, Y, and Z, but not mad at homie. Whatever. There's nothing ever wrong with that. But, social media will take any little clip or something, or any little piece of something. We've all dealt with all that when people, anybody with a little name, you say something, somebody run with it. It's like, yo, did you hear the whole context of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to take a little piece of it for engagement. So I get what you're saying. Like, so anyone in your space give any kind of, review, somebody gonna find a way to pick it apart. That's why I don't really ask most of the cats that I have conversation with. I don't ask too much about albums. I'll say, hey man, do you like so and so album, whatever? If you can leave it in 10 words, and I'm cool with it. I'm not gonna dig into that because I get it. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to come off a certain kind of way, and you're gonna get criticized for it. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact. That's why I said what I said, because I don't want to be caught up in anything. I've had my experiences with that, with the Wu-Tang, even with Kid Cudi, so like for me, it's like, yo, I'd rather just kind of keep a lot of my thoughts to myself.
Nothing wrong with that.
If it's not, positive, it's like, yo, maybe I haven't heard the full thing, or I haven't gotten to it yet, and that saves a lot of trouble,
No doubt, man. And this final topic I wanted to just touch real quick. I know everybody been touching this some, but just briefly, man. Like, why do you think this whole substance thing has caught all this steam on hip hop Twitter and on social media? And the reason I'm asking is because there's always been MCs and songs throughout the whole history of hip hop that, okay, these got messages, these are fun party joints, these are joints for this kind of occasion, that type of occasion. That's always been, you had Biz Markie at the same time you had X Clan. You know what I'm saying? Like, people having fun on some joints with no true meaning to that particular song or whatever. Then you have someone who their focus is, hey, Poor Righteous Teachers doing a song called whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, why do you think that this whole substance thing, because I think it started with Lil Wayne, where Homie said that about Lil Wayne, but it really took on a life of its own. So why do you think this whole substance thing now is a topic?
Well, I think obviously it came from La Russell. And I watched the full thing. He shouted out Wayne, he gave him his props, and then he said what he said. Now that is his opinion. I did my video on it, and I put my video out maybe like 20 minutes after he apologized. But really the reason why I was a little annoyed by his comments mainly was because of the after effect of it. He was he was insulting fans who didn't agree with what he had
Oh, okay,
said.
gotcha. I didn't see that. Gotcha.
And then he started posting songs and saying, this is substance, like substance. And it was just like, okay, like
his songs or other artist songs?
His songs.
Oh.
So to me, now it's not just about your opinion now. Now you're trying to say, and I could be wrong, but you're saying this is what substance is, and Wayne doesn't do this. That's how it came across. And I think on top of what he said, him doing these attacking fans with the internet is undefeated. So you can't beat the internet.
Okay.
It's just an angry mob. So that on top of the fact that he was posting freestyles and songs saying substance, it kind of came across like, yo, Wayne can't do this. And it's just like,
okay, yeah, see.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I felt the need to say something, because I was going to let it, just go by me. But I feel like substance to me, if you claim to be a lyricist, you should have some sort of substance. And you and I have had these conversations on Twitter separately, right? Where we talk about, don't just get on a record and just show how nice you are or rap about how nice you are. Don't rap about how good you can rap, right?
Facts.
Or
Yeah.
don't rap about the same things over and over again. What are these things that you're just constantly and consistently rapping about? You save that for the ciphers. You save that for the radio freestyles. You save that for the mixtapes. But when it's album and song time, we need structure. We need theme. We need content. We need substance. And a lot of times, people think that I'm this lyrical miracle guy, but I'm really not. If anything, like all of my projects, there's a theme, and there's always one song on there where I show how good I am. But
yeah, you gotta have that.
Just
it's
one,
just lyrical
though.
exercise and lyrical exercise.
Yeah, but it's always just one. I do my very best to not just have a project just spouting out endless metaphors. No.
That's why I appreciate it. When you made a video one time about these rappity rap dudes, you know what I'm saying? And you had referenced me in it. And I appreciate that, because I was like, okay, we're on the same page. Because I'm like, sometimes cats just rapping to be rapping. And I'm not mad at that. You know what I'm saying? But I do like when people take their time and structure out a project, because that's more important to me. Don't get me wrong, when it's mixtape time, and I think some people get wheezy when it comes to he went through a moment when he had all the dedication, the droughts and all. He just spitting rhymes, because that's what you doing. You lyrical exercising for the mixtapes. But he did have certain songs on some of his albums that for me had some substance on it. But I do feel like, personally, there's probably 5 MCs who is always criticized so harshly on social media. And recently, again, it has been Lil Wayne, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's so many criticizing this whole thing right now that you forget. Let's not overlook the dude being a great MC. In my opinion, you don't start rhyming at like 14 years old all the way up through his career right now. He spit on songs with your Conways and your AZs and all that, and Jadakiss on Death Wish. Let's not try to change hip hop history, man. Wayne, when he want to get busy, he can have substance and get busy. Let's come on. What we talk? I mean, Mickey, am I off here or what?
No, you're not off here. I think I've always said Wayne is a genius with the lyricism. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he can veer off at times, but when he's locked in and he has the subject down pat and it's time to get it together, oh my gosh, it can get outrageously spooky extremely quickly. And I think that people kind of forget that, because of when people talk about Wayne doing a versus, what they bring up is they bring up the Carter 2, they bring up the Carter 3, and they bring up all of his mixtapes. So they go straight to the mixtapes, you know what I'm saying? Because of how impactful that era for Wayne was.
It was impactful.
And it lets you know that these people, not those people, excuse me, but the people that say he doesn't have substance didn't really dive into this man's catalog. And I think that is the it's so unfortunate, because he speaks on so many different things in so many different ways, and it's not his fault that the mixtape version of himself is the most popular version to so many people.
Oh man, I'm glad you said that.
Because his other stuff that has substance is not pushed into the mainstream space. We got to look and listen. Cardi B is not a big lyricist, but she even said it herself. She was like, when I tried to put out something that was conscious, y'all didn't buy it. Y'all didn't want it. Y'all wanted me to do this other stuff. And that's the same thing. So she tucked it into the album the same way that Wayne tucked a lot of that stuff into the album. The singles are always going to reverberate because there's a mass audience that just want to escape. Music sometimes is not just a soundtrack to people's lives. It's also escapism. It's almost like a vacation.
It is, man. I'm going to tell you, I'm so glad that you said what you said, because being a supreme lyricist such as yourself, from the Bronx, from New York, to give Wayne these type of props because you're an MC's MC. And a lot of casual fans sometimes will take a bits and pieces of Wayne's career and be like, Wayne ain't that nice. And I'm like, you're not really listening. Have you actually heard all of Wayne's music, especially that mixtape run? He's every feature he's done with some of your so-called supreme lyrics, even your underground cats and Griselda cats, and like I said, AZ and all of these, your Kiss and all of them. He stood up with these cats, and these same guys have given him the love and the respect and the props and said, oh, no, don't get it twisted. Weezy get big. I remember watching a video of Loaded Lux and Mook in the car, and it was playing that Wayne joint, and they was going crazy on that. These are lyricists. And Mook was like, yeah, dog, don't get it twisted about Weezy, bro. Don't play with Weezy. That's what Mook said. And Mook get a lot of props as a lyricist, a battle cat, all this stuff like that. And these are all New York dudes such as yourself. So this whole Wayne thing, I just always felt like he's just one of the ones that's like he gets crucified for being who he is. And if you're around long enough, it's like Jay-Z said, if you around long enough, people are gonna get tired of your success, man, and they're gonna assassinate you.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, you got to know when to retire, so you don't become the villain. You know what I'm saying, and be more sporadic. That's just how it goes sometimes, Tony.
So that's the unfair thing about, in closing, that's the unfair thing about hip-hop to me, man, because if I see Lionel Richie, I'm like, damn, man, keep on going, Lionel. If I see, the Rolling Stones, they can keep on doing that thing. A lot of times in hip-hop, it's this ageism thing where it's like, okay, well, this cat been around so long, I don't feel you no more. Or this album don't sound like, just like somebody say, oh, well, KD3 good, but they ain't Illmatic. He don't supposed to be Illmatic. He was 19, he was 50 right here. You can appreciate being 50 doing something like Thun. Or Jay-Z do American Gangster or 444. Oh, it ain't Can I Live on Reasonable Doubt. Yeah, he's not 25 years old, straight out the street still. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we don't want our MCs to grow. You know what I'm saying? Public Enemy last year was still doing tours, getting busy. Chuck in his 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't we celebrate the age, and the growth of an artist? And yes, it's gonna change. Some people artists are not gonna be as aggressive as it was when they was 26 years old, when they 47. They grew as a person, so their music grew as well. You know what I'm saying? But it feels like sometimes like we shun away from the growth of an artist in hip hop.
Well, I think a lot of it is, hip hop was a youthful genre, and for Black people, a lot of times, growing up and getting older, the younger people always like, you old. At least I ain't 30. At least I ain't 40. At least I ain't, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you're going to be here. It's a blessing to get to these ages.
If you're lucky enough,
lucky enough, yes, it's a blessing to get to these ages. I look at Chuck D and I'm inspired. Please keep doing this because it gives me reason to keep going. Like, I know that there'll be money for me when I get into that age range.
Absolutely.
And I think that for me, that is what matters, growing up in hip hop and living it from the time that I saw Big Daddy Kane until I just finished packing up 2 rappers. Like, that's hip hop.
Packing them up. You had to, you had to do that. You had to throw that blow.
Had to do it. That's 36 years of hip hop right there. I heard Kane at 8 years old.
Yeah.
I fell in love at that. I probably was dancing to hip hop before that, but my consciousness was Kane.
Yeah.
And being able to, take that moment and still use it today, it speaks volumes to the power of what hip hop is.
And you know what, hip hop, so as we get older, for me, it gives you the youth. It makes you feel good. Like me personally, I'm 50, bro. I grew up with Run DMC. My big bro, 7 years older than me, used to DJ in the 80s here in North Carolina. He taught me how to scratch on Run DMC and Egyptian Lover and UTFO records, man. And at my age now, I find so much pleasure in when I write articles and stuff on my website, or when I have people on the podcast, or when I'm tweeting or on Facebook, just talking about the art. I love this. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it gives me youth. It gives me the freedom to go back mentally to earlier times of my life, man. And I grew with the music same way you did. Talking about from Kane to now, you know, you're doing what you're doing, running your own school and everything. Like hip hop is for a lifetime. Like when I remember watching Beats, Rhymes, and Life documentary with Tribe and Q-Tip was like, man, you know, Michael Jackson, all these guys, they did it to the death. He's like, ain't no retiring for me, man. Like this is my life. And I'll never forget that part what Q-Tip was saying. It was like, ain't no retiring for me. So why are we pushing rappers to retire? And I hate when I hear somebody saying I'm about to retire. You know, for me, I'm like, well, you're a musician, bro. What are we talking about?
Well, I think you know, I've toyed with the idea of retiring as well, but I've kind of tweaked it a little bit. More so like I'm retiring from creating like full-length projects, like anything past a certain number of songs, because then it just takes a lot of work. So maybe you do EPs, like, yo, I'll do EPs from now on, or maybe it'll just be singles or features from here on out. Like, but the art of creating music, you shouldn't be able to retire from.
Yeah, that's not retiring. You might not do a full-length album anymore, but let's say you still doing your school. Even if you did a guest verse once a year, you still active.
It's still active. Yes, that's what people should be saying, instead of just completely saying
you're still part of the culture.
Yes, and I think that
you're not turning your back on the culture.
Right. I can't turn this culture has provided a safe space and financial freedom for the past 19 years for me. I could never turn my back on this culture.
Man, that's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing. So you said, man, you got some other joints, like you got a new album coming out in a couple of months, and you got more shows coming.
Yeah. So the shows is coming. We you know, I said that at the beginning, but I'm gonna give Tony some exclusives. So we got Delta Slim coming out. We got Delta Slim coming out in April, and that's with Cartoon, who produces a lot of stuff with Lloyd Banks. So he produced the entire project, and again, very concept driven. A lot of themes on there, a lot of great stuff for people to check out and vibe to. First single is called Lead by Example with Currency and Sharif Keys, my guy. Then I have a project coming out like in July. I'm hoping for my birthday with PA Dre. And this is like it's like a jazz hip hop live kind of album. And it is meant for, you know, the 40 plus community. There's a lot of realization on this project, a lot of discussions about grief and anxiety and accountability. It is a powerful project, brother. Oh my gosh, it is unbelievable. And then later in this year, me and Pete Rock, man, we go to Jamaica, and we're gonna record our album together. Me and Pete Rock.
What?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The chocolate boy.
Yeah. That's one of my very, very good friends. We talk every day. And, you know, I told him, I was like, yo, man, you know, I was like, I never talk to you about music because we talk about so many different things. He was like, Mickey, he was like, you don't even got to finish this. He's like, I got a whole bunch of beats just for you. And mind you, I never speak to this, but he was like, I got a whole bunch of beats just for you, but we have to record it in Jamaica.
Let me say this to you. That's so dope. I'm glad you said that. Now, could you imagine, right? Going back to your early childhood, hearing Pete Rock and CL Smooth and all the you know, reminisce over you, and now you have a relationship with this guy, and you're about to do ain't that a beautiful thing about hip hop?
It's surreal, Tony. Like, it's surreal. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, again, Big Daddy Kane is the reason I'm here, and I could just text him. I remember one time, you know, he called me just to talk to me.
Yeah,
and we started having a conversation about him being a media man. Excuse my sinuses. We had a conversation about him being a media man. I was like, oh shit, I forgot you was a media man.
That's funny.
But again, I was a kid when Media Man came out. So like, this is now my friend. This is somebody I could text and say, yo, what you think about this? And he'll text me like, yo, what you think about this? It's like, what? Like, what?
Yeah, man. It's beautiful, Mickey, because, you know, I was telling somebody recently the other day, like, look, in the 90s, man, you know, at my school. I mean, I'm in college. I'm throwing parties. I'm cool with all the cats at the radio station. I'm in a fraternity. We throwing the joint. So I'm in the street smoking with Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, and I'm doing that in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Because of all my affiliations, right? But I still didn't think big of that. That was cool. I'm a young hip hop head. It's cool. But then I fast forward to, you know, a year and a half ago, I get a text from one of my homies like, yo, check your Twitter. And Chuck D does that, my profile picture for me, right? And I'm like, that's cool stuff right there, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy for me because this is the kid I looked up to in high school. This is what, you know, the social media, the power of that stuff is, right? And then now I can text Chuck D, bro. I grew up watching Fight the Power in high school. And that's, for me, that's amazing to me.
This is unreal, bro.
And to you, talking to Big Daddy Kane, being friends with Pete Rock, doing this stuff, but you could have never imagined that growing up.
Absolutely not.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts. It's just like, so look, man, don't hang up yet. But man, we got to do this again. It can't be a whole year, Mickey. It's a lot going on out here. You know what I'm saying? I know you're a little under the weather tonight, man. So I'm not gonna hold you no more, but we're gonna have to do this again, especially when, you know, one of these big projects come out in a couple of months, man. I'm gonna have to hit you up, man, reach out to you. You know what I'm saying? Next time I'm down in the A.
Yeah, I'm starting to get back. I'm starting to get back into the mode of setting the project out, you know, weeks before to some people that I really appreciate to do reviews on it, because I feel I'm extremely confident on these next couple projects I got coming.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, you know, I'm always down and listening to whatever, bro. I'm always commuting. I'm always on the road anyway. You know what I'm saying, man? But yo, I appreciate you, my G. We're gonna do it again, man.
Yes, sir.
Episode 97 with my dog Mick Factz out here ethering cats. You know what I'm saying? We out of here. Peace.